Welcome to Gulfstream. It is February 20th, 2014. Christina Bosnakis here with our man Ron Nicoletti, and a lovely day, albeit a little bit breezy here in southern Florida. We've been pretty spoiled with the weather of late.
Definitely, it's been absolutely fantastic all over the last few days. And the weather, good thing you brought up the breezy conditions. We'll let you know later on, or you can watch to see if it actually affects, the way the races are run today. A lot of times when there's a strong headwind coming into the horses when they turn for home, it favors closers, but don't know which way exactly the wind is blowing, but I will check it out and let you know throughout the afternoon.
Yeah, that's something to look on to. And another thing to look forward to is we also have that 20-cent Rainbow Six. There is a carryover. It's up over $1 million, Ron, and it'll be well over $1 million come race 5.
Oh, yeah, everybody's playing this now, and it's... we had a couple of horses alive in each of the last couple of days for big money, so there is a chance. And the other day, paid 86 or 6, even though there was a couple of tickets, paid $88,000 to win. So even if you're not lucky enough to hit the big jackpot, the 6 of 6, and when you share it with someone else, have been paying fantastically. $88,000 the day before was $15,000, so a great bet. And the most important part of it all, it's only a 20-cent increment, so you can add extra horses, and it doesn't cost you too much.
It doesn't cost you too much, but Saturday's card is just what a wonderful card. I was looking at it last night, and it's a fantastic quality races. And we also have those guarantees as well during the month of February.
Yeah, we have $100,000 in the late pick 5, and in our late pick 4, the last pick 4 of the afternoon, $200,000 guaranteed. So the pick 5, both of those 50-cent wagers, $100,000 in the pick 5, $200,000 in the late pick 4, and we'll have 12 races on Saturday. So I'm guessing we're going to have those 3 pick 4s again.
Yeah, it's just a fantastic quality card, and it'll be highlighted by a couple of races. The Grade 2 Bessalou Fountain of Youth Stakes. We also have the Devona Dale, which is for the ladies. So just some great...
And the Canadian Turf?
And the Canadian Turf. How can I forget the Canadian Turf?
That's what I was waiting for you to say something.
How can the Canadian forget the Canadian Turf? It's such a great quality racing. But before we get there, we have a couple of really nice cards over the next couple of days. And... let's start with race 1.
I like when you start with race 1.
Yeah. So it is a 12-5 claiming event. It is 7 furlongs on the main track. And my top selection in there, I went with number 1, Guyana. And Guyana came through with a win last time. That was 16,000 claiming company. Now we're dropping to 12-5. But that was in the slop going 1 mile and a 16th.
Yeah, and I mean, she's turning back to 7 furlongs. She led virtually every step of the way to defeat those $16,000 3 lifetime claimers. As you mentioned, going the mile and a 16. Marcus Vitale, you got our leading rider, Javier Castellano, going for 2 in a row. But I went with the number 2, Capriccio Blue. This one moved to the Michael Casey barn via the claim, steps up the competition after notching her second consecutive 4-length victory. It's almost the identical races, but that was against $6,250 claimers. New connections tab, Luis Saez to ride. So going with the horse that's won a couple of races in a row, but got Guyana on a ticket. Also got the number 7, Jeans Blue Moon, who we wanted to show something about.
Yeah, we sure did, because I also used number 7, Jeans Blue Moon, and we can have a look at this 4-year-old filly's, the way she broke in her latest start, and that was on February 6th. It was at the same level, and she broke in the air. If you saw her jump up right at the start, and so that cost her a few lengths, Ron. But she came on and she ran very well late, and she got up on the inside for the victory.
Yeah, she was a really good performance. You thought that she would have no chance, but she went through on the inside and threw off to win it impressively, and that's the reason I have Jeans Blue Moon on my ticket. And fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up, as we mentioned, running for $12,500 today.
Well, looking on to the second race on today's card, it is a 5.5 furlong test. It is for maiden special weight, but it's for state-breds, state-bred colts. And, this is an interesting race for me, Ron, and one horse in particular, and that's my top selection, number 2, Simon Bar Sinister, and he's by Warfront, top caliber, top quality sire from who stands at Claiborne, and his numbers are okay with his first-time starters in particular. I always like to see them on the turf because their numbers move way up, but it's from the barn of Todd Pletcher, and this horse has been training pretty forwardly.
I went with the number 8 Oration here, and I really like this horse today. I'm sad that there's 2 scratches this race because we're not going to get a price on either one of these horses, the 8 Oration or the number 2 Simon Bar Sinister. Scratch the 1 Gibson Bullet and the 5. Yes, that's me. Well, Oration is turning back slightly to 5.5 furlongs after his promising, I thought, 6 furlong career debut in which he finished second. That was against state-bred competition. Trainer Christophe Clement, Julien Leparoux in the saddle, returning. I just thought this horse fit perfectly in here. Of course, you got to deal with Todd Fletcher. That's always a concern.
That guy.
Yeah. But, 8 and 2 look like the logical choices. Then I added the 7 horse in here. Easy for me to say. Derivative Contract. This is a $180,000 son of Cowtown Cat. Never had a chance at Saratoga when he ran. It was a muddy track, and if you've ever been to Saratoga, that is real mud. This horse was up against it the whole way, coming back for Terry Pompey. So we'll see how that horse runs today.
You mentioned number 8 Oration. I also used this gelding as well. He's a half-2 Indian Gracie. She was a nice filly. She was a stakes winner. She was grade 1 placed. And it took her a couple of starts. It took her actually 3 starts to break her maiden. So maybe this horse is going to need a little bit, he'll need a couple of starts. You also mentioned number 7, Derivative Contract. If you look who he finished narrowly ahead in Saratoga that day, Harpoon. And Harpoon, a nice Todd Fletcher horse who came up here and ran really well at Tampa in a Tampa stake there. So some stakes quality in there. On to the 3rd race on today's card, and it is a 12-5 claiming event. It is 6 furlongs on the main track. And my top selection, I went with number 6, La Ia de Olga. And coming into this off of a victory last time out, that was on the same level. But also another horse that you're probably going to have to watch, number 7, Javamine, from the Aubrey Murat barn. And whenever Aubrey shows up in these types of races, you always have to pay attention.
Yeah, we have the same exact thing here. I had the 6
like
Lahisha de Olga on top. Became the only multiple winner in the field when it won last time out. 10 starts, 2 wins, 3 thirds. So 5 for 10 in the money, very consistent. Rodolfo Garcia, the trainer, got Elvis Trujillo in the saddle. And you mentioned Javamine's going to face winners after defeating a next out winner in that race. Horse who he defeated came back and win. That was Dunkirk's best. That was in maiden test in Aubrey Murat. You mentioned him. He's 21% with horses winning consecutive races. I closed it out with the 1 horse Beckerwitt. You close it out with the number 3 horse in there, Flash Song.
Flash Song. And looking ahead to the 4th race on the card, it is a starter optional claiming race with a claiming price of $10,000. It is 6 furlongs on the main track. And my top selection, it looks like we went in pretty much the same direction in here as well. That's number 5, Wild Oration. And coming into this off of a couple of 3rd place efforts, and making this transition from turf to dirt. However, pretty nice starts and finding easier company here.
Yeah, and if you go back, really a second at this level on the dirt. That was back on January 3rd. Now drops, goes back to the main track. Showed good speed last time out and got caught late with finishing 3rd. That was against those $25,000 optional claimers, going 5/8 on the grass, so getting some class relief. And Wild Oration on top of both our tickets. We flip-flopped our 2nd and 3rd horses with the 7, Dreaming of Bella, and the 4, Vinani Lane.
Yeah, a couple of horses. I'm thinking that Dreaming of Bella, number 7, will probably be showing speed. But Vianney Lane, she's got some speed too. And I think that's a big reason that I also went with Wild Oration. I think in the past she's shown that she could come from off the pace and hopefully pick up the pieces in this race that has a lot of speed. We're going to take a short break, folks, and come back and have a look at the 5th on the card that kicks off that 20-cent Rainbow 6. We're up over $1 million.
The OBS March 2-year-old sale is the Grade 1 source to the world, with undefeated juvenile champion Asia Express in Japan, Grade 1 juvenile stakes winners by Conquistadore, Secret Compass, and Bondholder, King's Bishop winner Capo Bastone, and Breeders' Cup Sprint winner Secret Circle in North America. Make plans to find your next Grade 1 winner at the OBS Selected 2-year-old sale, March 10th and 11th. OBS, we measure success by performance.
ExpressBet brings you a whole new way to play the races. An easier, better way to wager on your favorite tracks. With a more streamlined interface for faster wagering. With more handicapping insights from our world-class experts. With more racetracks, nearly 200 to choose from. And with your personalized multi-view wagering screen, your tracks, your wager pad, and your video are all on one page. It's simply the best way to play the races. Your way. Welcome to ExpressBet. Your way to play.
Welcome back to Gulfstream. We're going to have a look at today's 5th race that kicks off the 20-cent Rainbow Six. We're up over $1 million. That's the carryover, and we'll be well up over $1 million later on this afternoon. But Ron, we've got a 5-furlong turf race. It is a maiden special weight for 3-year-olds, and an interesting and competitive race. I thought I went with number 8, and that's
we're almost exactly the same. So it was.
And again, yeah, we have this. Apparently, hopefully, it all works out that way. But we have number 8, and that is Moonwalker from the David Fox barn. Broke from the rail last time, and I thought it was a good second on that occasion, and a horse that he came back and that actually dead-heated Charlie the Boss. He came back and he won next time out. So it seems like it's a pretty good race.
I think this horse finds the perfect spot now, talking about the 8 Moonwalker, to step up the competition after responding to both the surface switch, and then he gets the blinkers back on, and he ran really good second last time against $40,000 maidens going 5 furlongs on the grass. The $40,000 maidens, he's still equal to everything in this race right here. So it's not really a jump up in competition with the number 8 Moonwalker. I had the 5 Winter's Gift in second, a gelded son of Ghost Zapper, and the number 2 It's a Great Life. But I also got my long shot in this race, so I'll let you know when you get done with the number 5 or the number 2 who you had in second.
You know, I added those horses for 2 reasons. You mentioned number 5. I threw him on my ticket because Winter's Gift. He's from the Wesley Ward barn, and a lot of these horses in here, as you mentioned, it's not a huge jump up in terms of number 8 Moonwalker. The reason why I went for him in terms of the class, I thought he was a little bit. Number 5 is a little bit the unknown quantity in here, and Wesley's very good with those first-time starters. In the work tab has been pretty steady, so I thought I'd throw him in there. And also number 2, It's a Great Life. He debuted on the dirt, and now he's running on the turf, but he is by greatness out of an El Prado mare. I think the turf the pedigree really speaks to the turf, and I like that move as well.
Well, that's why I added him right there, because of his breeding. I think he's bred to respond favorably to both the surface and the distance, the 5 furlong distance. Wanted to mention the long shot in here, and that's the number 3 Secret Feather. This one is from the Mickey Kroger barn. He's doing most of his running over at Calder, the trainer Mickey with his horses over at Calder. But if you look at his record in these turf races, and like we said, this is not a big jump up in class. He's running against Maiden Special Weight Company on the main track at Calder, but he's 1 to 2 with horses making their first time on the turf, so that's 50%, a limited sampling. But he's 3 for 10, 30% with his turf sprinters, and 25% with the dirt to turf angle. These are the type of horses you might want to throw on your Rainbow Six ticket so you don't get knocked out in the first half, because this is on paper, you know, we both picked the 8, but it is much more wide open than that.
I agree with you 100%. Looking on to the 6th race on the card, which is a 20,000 maiden claiming event. It is 1 mile on the turf course, and my top selection in there, I went with number 1, Laws of the City, and getting back to the turf after that the latest start that was in an off the turf event. It was he was beaten into 4th, beaten over 8 lengths, but I think his numbers are better, his figures are better on the turf, so I think that he'll bounce back getting back to the turf.
Yeah, we're in exact agreement again with the top horse in here. I did go with the number 6, 10, and 4 in the second spot. This one finished the Workman like 5th in consecutive turf races. That was at the $35,000 level. Now drops a notch, you know, and I just think it figures in. He had trouble last time out, finished 5th, and it was showed off early in that race. If you go back and look at the race, you'll see this horse had some trouble in the early part of the race. That was a race moved to a sloppy main track, but really got sawed off a little bit. So added the 6 on my ticket, 10 and 4. 6, 10, and 4.
You know, we had a couple of different horses in here. You had 1, 6, and 10. I also had number 9, Skylar Blue from the Jessica Campitelli barn, and finding some class relief in this race after meeting 35,000 maiden company last time, and really didn't show all that much on that particular occasion. But I think, you know, cutting back a little bit in trip and also the easier company, if he runs back to earlier, back in November, I think, or I should say in December, that race December 6th, I think he'll probably be somewhere in the mix.
Here's another race where I think you have to go deep on your Rainbow 6 ticket. It's not a clear cut at all. By the way, scratch the 5-station commander, and Larry Comas, our buddy, will be back later on. He'll update you on all that good stuff.
And that race also kicks off the pick 5 as well. So, you know, one of those that I think that you might have to spread a little bit in that particular event. On to the 7th race on the card, which kicks off the late pick 4. It is a 35,000 claiming event. It is 1 mile on the turf course, and scratch the also eligible number 11. But I went with number 7, White Pants Knight. Wow,
we have like so many horses exactly alike on top there. I don't know if that's good or bad, but we're certainly going to find out.
Yeah, but we're finding again. Here's a 3-year-old filly that's coming out of a race. She was 4th on that occasion. That was 75,000 allowance optional claiming. So that's like a pretty considerable drop.
Yeah, and the daughter of Speightstown, so certainly bred to handle this 1 mile distance. So number 7, White Pants Knight on top of my ticket. Went with the 8-horse Poor Etiquette as facing winners. Parlayed a really strong late charge into a $35,000 maiden victory. Marty Wolfson, hard to leave him off anything. He just horses always seem to run well. He's about 22% with horses winning consecutive races. He's got our leading apprentice, Dylan Davis, in the saddle. So lots of things to like about the 8 Poor Etiquette in my mind.
You know, a couple of horses I also threw on there. Number 6, Cambiata, and she's from the Jose Pinchin barn, and she's coming out. That last race that she ran 11th. She was well beaten on that particular occasion, but she's finding much easier company than she has in the last, and actually really in her whole career thus far. So I think she's going to move up. And also number 4, Brenna Song, I threw her on my ticket as well, getting a little bit of a class break as well. Looking on to the 8th race on today's card, which is a allowance optional claiming event. It is a claiming price of $100,000, 6 furlongs on the main track, and this is a pretty good one. It's a short field, but there's some really nice horses in here. I went with number 4, Happy My Way, and she's coming into this off of a 2nd place effort, and that was in the Sunshine Millions Sprint. He is coming into this off of it in the Sunshine Millions Sprint. We can have a look at that latest race. And Ron, on that particular occasion, Happy My Way, he's finishing behind a really nice horse named Rebo Bobo.
Yeah, a fan favorite in Rebo Bobo. So this is a good performance. And Happy My Way really looks awful tough after posting those back-to-back triple-digit buyer figures in both local starts, as you mentioned, including this race right here. And nobody was beating Rebo Bobo that day. You know, Rebo Bobo was, it's called the Claiming Crown, but that's a stakes winner if there ever was one, Rebo Bobo. So Happy My Way, a logical choice in there, and I can see we're both in agreement. We both have the 3 Honorable Dylan. Honorable Dylan is the 2013 Hutchison Stakes winner, and he's turning back to his most accomplished distance, so threw him on the ticket. 3 starts and 2 wins, I believe.
You know, a couple of those horses, let's just get back to Happy My Way just for a minute. Joe Orsino said after that race, Happy My Way broke from the rail on that occasion on Sunshine Millions Day. And there was a horse next to him in the gate next to him. He was acting up. He didn't get away as cleanly or as quickly as he would have hoped, as Joe would have hoped. And he hopes with a better break. And he thought, or he felt that if he broke better that day, he might have been a little bit closer to Rebo Bobo, and, you know, possibly they didn't finish that far apart. They were only a length and 3/4 between them at the wire. So he's hoping for a better break this time, and hopefully being a little more forwardly placed. But I think he probably stands out in this group. You mentioned number 3, Honorable Dylan, and Honorable Dylan's a horse you mentioned. He has quality. He won the Hutch here, and he looked stupendous last time when he came into the paddock. I don't know if you recall. Not a very big horse, but he really is a nice looking horse. And I don't know what happened to him, but we're going to go back, and I'm going to find Eddie Keneally before the race, and we're going to talk to him, and we're going to find out. So I'll give you all that information as soon as I pick Eddie's brain.
I wanted to mention one other horse in here, 5 undrafted, who was 3rd behind Honorable Dylan in the Hutch Hutchison, but this horse owned by the one and only Wes Welker, who is the wide receiver of the Denver Broncos now. Spends a lot of time. He was our guest here for last Florida Derby, so maybe he'll be around today. I'm not guaranteeing that, but undrafted. His course coming back, hasn't run in a long time, was on the turf at Del Mar, so coming back. Just wanted to mention that Wes Welker's got a horse in here today.
And he's a nice horse as well, and he's hit the board in some nice stakes in addition. On to the 9th race on the card, which is a starter optional claiming race, and it is with a claiming price of $20,000. 5 furlongs on the turf course. There's a scratch number 6. My top selection, I went with number 5, Trippin' Along from the Wayne Catalano barn, and I think that latest start was just too far for this 5-year-old mare. She gets the services of Dylan Davis. That's always a good move. So hopefully we'll be forwardly placed this time, cutting back in trip, and we'll be able to sustain it.
Well, finally we've got some different horses in here. I went with the number 1, Be My Love. This one moved to the Michael Wilson barn via the claiming route races without the blinkers, and cuts back to her most accomplished distance. 7 starts at the distance, 2 wins, 2 seconds, 2 thirds. First starts in pressing the pace and tiring, but that was against $25,000 optional claimers, going 7.5 furlongs, and Johnny Velasquez will be in the saddle today, so I went with the number 1, Be My Love, on top of the ticket.
And that's always a plus, having Johnny V aboard. On to the final race on today's card, which is a 1.16 event on the turf course. It is a 16,000 claiming race, and my top selection in there, actually there are a couple of scratches, and as Ron mentioned, Larry Colmus will be on in just a few minutes. I give you all the updated scratches and changes for today, but there is a scratch number 6 and number 11, and my top selection, I went with number 10, Vanquisher. He is a 10-year-old gelding, and last time didn't show his best, and that was in an off-the-turf event. My only concern with this horse is he's been running pretty regularly. He's been coming back very quick. He's been very competitive in the races where he's been situated that he really fits. But I do think that in this particular race that he probably stands up above these.
If you look in the dictionary under hard-knocking campaigner, there'll be a picture of the 10 Vanquisher. I went with the number 5, Midnight Notes, is dropping a notch on the claiming scale, stretching out after rallying to finish second. It was against $20,000 claimants. Jane Savelli, 35%, with horses making the second start after a similar layoff, so I put that one on top of my ticket, but also got number 10, Vanquisher, on my ticket.
You know, I like Midnight Notes as well, and I think with Vanquisher, one of my big selling points, if you look at the rider on Vanquisher today, Javier Castellano, and Aubrey Marat, when they have a Javier Castellano, it's like ready, set, go. So those are horses. That's a horse that I had to use on my ticket.
You heard it here first.
That's it. That's it. I just call it the way I see it. And that's it for us for right now. And we will be back the rest of this afternoon. We do have that 20-cent Rainbow 6. There is that carryover. It's over $1 million, folks, and that starts in race 5. Good luck.